Summer travel boom continues reopening trend. Germany and Italy are the latest popular European destinations to have significantly relaxed or removed their pandemic-era entry requirements entirely, bringing the number of restriction-free European countries higher than it's been in 2 years, and travelers love it. Visit our country-by-country guide for the current information about entry restrictions around Europe and beyond. Visit Travel. State. Gov to read more about entry requirements, travel advisories, and more, or visit a specific country's tourism website to see the most detailed entry guidelines. Read on to learn about the rest of the up-to-date entry requirements for every country in Europe. Voices. Our grandmother lived 100 years. Her legacy of saving Jewish children from Nazis lives on. When we were kids, she didn't talk about it. Some of the hidden children discovered later in life that they had been hidden, and then they discovered they'd been hidden by her. 6,000 plus U.S. flights cancelled or delayed Friday after one of worst summer air travel days, yet travelers are facing the second day of misery at airports across the country. More than 1,300 U.S. flights were cancelled as of 5 p.m. EDT Friday, with over 5,000 more posting delays, according to FlightAware, which tracks flights in real time. The headaches come on the heels of one of the worst travel days yet as the peak summer vacation season heats up. More than 1,750 U.S. flights were cancelled Thursday. Latest updates from Saturday: U.S. flight cancellations, delays continue, more than 2,700 flights affected so far. Nationwide, American Airlines and Delta Airlines have the most cancellations so far, with their schedules reduced by 8% and 7%, respectively, Friday. Those numbers do not include flights on their regional affiliates, which operate as American Eagle and Delta Connection. The vast majority of that is weather-related, said Curtis Blessing, spokesman for American Airlines. He noted that weather in the Miami area was also contributing to delays for the carrier on Friday morning. Airlines kicked off the busy summer travel season by canceling about 2,800 flights in a 5-day stretch around the Memorial Day holiday weekend, marking the start of what's likely to be a tough summer for the nation's air passengers. Thursday and Friday's issues come in the wake of a virtual meeting between airline CEOs and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a sign of the Biden administration's concern about the prospect of snarled airports and unhappy travelers this summer. "I let them know that this is a moment when we are really counting on them to deliver reliably for the traveling public," Buttigieg told NBC News. Is travel insurance worth it? What to know before you book your next trip. Delta is cutting back 100 daily flights from July through early August. What travelers need to know. If your flight is canceled, the U.S. Department of Transportation requires airlines to rebook you on their next available service with space. If that will not work for you, the carrier is required to offer you a refund, even if you bought a non-refundable ticket. In the event of a delay, an airline's responsibility is a little less clear. DOT does require compensation for significant delays but has no official definition for what counts as significant. Many airlines updated their policies during the pandemic to give travelers more flexibility in rebooking or altering plans. Delta, for example, automatically rebooks passengers whose flights were canceled and sends them their new itineraries via email, text and the Fly Delta app. Customers are free to change their rebooked flight online or via Delta's digital messaging platform if the new itinerary doesn't work. So far, airlines are not issuing preemptive change fee waivers in response to Friday's cancellations, but affected passengers will still have options to rebook. Arriving at the airport 2 hours early? You might need 3, in some cases. Why this summer is tough for travel. As COVID-19 restrictions continue to loosen, more Americans are planning to venture away from home this summer, but airlines have struggled to keep up with the surge. I think every single part of the travel industry, from the airlines to airport employees to security agents, they all just got caught flat-footed by this explosion in demand, said Kyle Potter, editor of the website Thrifty Traveler, which aims to familiarize people with the inner workings of the airline industry and find travel deals. It's really easy to have 20/20 vision in hindsight and tell airlines and airports you went way too far when travel collapsed in cutting back to the bone to stop losing money, but earlier in the pandemic, no one really knew how long the slump would last. Around 50 Delta pilots protested in New York on Thursday, saying that by this fall they expect to have worked more overtime in 2022 than they did in 2018 and 2019 combined. How old is Google? History of the world's most popular search engine. According to tech company EarthWeb, Google processes about 8.5 billion searches per day. With Statista's estimate of 1.88 billion total websites on the internet as of August 2021, the scope of Google is still far from reaching the massive number after which it was named, but it grows larger by the day. Originally conceptualized as a search engine, the company has grown immensely since its founding. Google also owns YouTube, and its purchase of Android allowed the company to establish itself in the phone market with products like the Google Pixel smartphone. How old is Google? Google Incorporated was founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin on September 4, 1998, following a $100,000 investment from Andy Bechtolsheim, co-founder of Sun Microsystems. According to history, Page and Brin filed for Google's initial public stock offering on April 29, 2004. The company went public in August 2004. Google renamed its company Alphabet in 2015, making Google a subsidiary, says Investopedia. This move was intended to avoid antitrust violations and unite all the company's acquisitions and services as a technology conglomerate. Other Google acquisitions. Who owns Google? The same company that owns Waze and YouTube. Just curious? We're here to help with life's everyday questions. Who is Google's CEO? In 2019, Page and Brin stepped down from their respective roles as CEO and president, according to Search Engine Journal. The company's current CEO is Sundar Pichai. When did Google buy YouTube? In early October 2006, Google purchased YouTube for $1.65 billion. As of June 2022, Susan Wojcicki, Google's 16th ever employee, is the CEO of YouTube. When did Google buy Android? According to Wired, Google acquired Android in 2005 for $50 million, an investment that is paying off. Statista data reveals that over 80% of smartphones across the globe have run Android operating systems since the year 2014. How Saudi Arabia can become the vanguard of sustainable tourism. An agreement with Jamaica puts resilient tourism at the heart of the industry's post-pandemic recovery. The pandemic highlighted the vulnerability of tourism not only to pandemics but also extreme weather. London, Saudi Arabia is stepping up its efforts to become the vanguard of a UN pledge to develop a sustainable model of tourism after the sector's levels of resilience were pushed to breaking point by the pandemic and new dire warnings of tourism's environmental footprint emerged. Addressing the UN General Assembly on May 6, Saudi Arabia's Minister of Tourism Ahmed Al-Khatib said lessons about tourism's vulnerability to sudden, unexpected events must be taken from the pandemic, which cost the sector 62 million jobs worldwide, and changes made. COVID-19 highlighted the vulnerability of the sector, not only to pandemics but also to the effects of extreme weather, so addressing climate change must be at the heart of building a more resilient tourism, and there is no resilience without sustainability, he said. We must work collaboratively, putting sustainable, resilient tourism at the heart of inclusive recovery. Only by doing these things together will we ensure better and more resilient futures for the millions around the world reliant on tourism. A partial view shows an ancient Nabatean carved tomb at the archaeological site of Hegra, near the northwestern Saudi city of Al-Ula. Photo by the UN's World Tourism Organization, UNDO, welcomed the Saudi efforts, noting that the kingdom's Vision 2030 has already provided the blueprint for a transformative and deeply ambitious economic strategy, and could do the same for tourism. A spokesperson for the UNDO told Arab News, this ambitious plan aims to reshape the social and cultural landscape, accelerating growth through strategic investment, new industries and leadership. It is an opportunity to bring Saudi Arabia's heritage, culture and hospitality to the world, and deliver on climate and sustainability goals. Properly managed, tourism can play a key role in achieving this vision. Scientists have said CO2 emissions from tourism will increase by 25% by 2030 compared to 2016 levels, which if left unaddressed could be a bullet for the sector as visitors begin to factor in the impact, and morality, of climate change on their destination choices. Signaling the kingdom's intent to become the shepherd to sustainability, Al-Khatib and his Jamaican counterpart, Edmund Bartlett, signed earlier this month a Memorandum of Understanding to collaborate on developing sustainable and resilient tourism between the two countries. Part of the agreement also included determination to not only embrace the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development but to lay out a blueprint that can be rolled out globally for a sustainable model of tourism. EasyJet to cut further breakouts over the summer leaves. EasyJet has blazoned plans to cut further breakouts over the busy summer period. The airline has scrapped 7 of the 000 breakouts anticipated to run between July and September. It comes after Gatwick said it will cut the number of breakouts taking off from its field during the peak summer season because of staff dearths. Away, Heathrow has asked airlines flying from 2 of its outstations to cut 10 breakouts on Monday, following problems recycling baggage. The field has not verified how numerous services are affected. Knockouts of thousands of passengers have been hit by cancellations and detainments in recent weeks, with several left stranded during the half-term leaves. Hundreds of breakouts across the UK were cancelled during the week of the Platinum Jubilee, and enterprises have been raised about further trip straights during the summer. The dislocation has been caused by several factors, but staff dearths have left the aeronautics assiduity floundering to manage with resurgent demand. EasyJet verified there would also be flight cancellations at other airfields across the airline's network, including Amsterdam's Schiphol Mecca, but it has not yet worked out a precise number. Last week, Schiphol said it would limit the number of passengers allowed at the field over the summer, leading to a 16 fall in planned breakouts also due to staff dearths. EasyJet said guests would be given advance notice and the eventuality to rebook indispensable breakouts. It added numerous would be suitable to rebook on the same day they had first planned to travel. T said in recent weeks the sector had endured an unknown ramp-up in demand for trips, with April and May passenger figures reaching 7 times more advanced than the same months last time. EasyJet's principal superintendent, Johan Lundgren, said the airline would generally operate about 000 breakouts during the summer months. He apologized that the company had not been suitable to deliver the service that guests have come to anticipate from us, and he anticipated the airline to be suitable to reaccommodate passengers. "I cannot tell you how numerous breakouts will be impacted," he said. "It would be misleading for me to give any figures moment because we simply do not know." The airline said it was canceling the breakouts to make fresh adaptability, in the face of functional issues including staff dearths in ground running and at airfields as well as air business control detainments. Coupled with field caps, we're talking preemptive conduct to increase adaptability over the balance of summer, including a range of farther flight connections in the affected airfields, giving advance notice to guests, and we anticipate the vast majority to be rebooked on indispensable breakouts within 24 hours, Mr. Lundgren added. Can you get compensation if your flight is cancelled? Still, you have the right to either a full refund or a relief flight, if your flight is cancelled. And that different flight doesn't need to be with the same carrier, it can be a volition, as long as it flies on the same day, says Julia Lobu, CEO of Advantage Travel Partnership. Still, it'll reimburse you, if you and the airline cannot agree on a new flight. Still, you may also be entitled to compensation, but only if the airline is at fault, if the flight was cancelled with 14 days or lower notice. Still, you are entitled to compensation, but if it's the field, if it's a direct result of the airline. He said EasyJet was trying to retain from a tighter labor request, but added the main problem was not in the reclamation of staff, but in the time it was taking identity checks to be reused so they're suitable to work. We've signed further cabin crew than we've ever done, he said. It's been slow to get people in the system, not so much the face we've been floundering to the novitiate. Still, Mr. Lundgren said the company was having to turn down EU operations for jobs because of Brexit, which had also contributed to the lower pool of implicit workers. We turned down 000 aspirants from the EU, he said, equating to 40 of all people applying for jobs. I am not condemning. But of course, it has an impact. It's just lower, it's just calculi. The Department for Transport has been communicated for comment. Airlines have been criticized in recent weeks for taking further bookings than they can manage following steep staff cuts during the height of COVID when trips ground to a halt. But assiduity leaders have argued the government could have done further to support the sector during the epidemic. It has also called for immigration rules on hiring overseas workers to be relaxed to plug staff dearths, but Transport Secretary Grant Shapps ruled out such a move. Following a surge of cancellations and detainments at airfields, the Department of Transport and the Civil Aviation Authority wrote to airlines telling them to review their schedules and to cancel breakouts that couldn't be delivered at the foremost possibility. Although firm details on the blueprint have yet to emerge, the UNWIL spokesperson noted that policymakers are best placed to play a central role so long as their policies include aims to reduce environmental impacts of consumption and production patterns. National tourism planning is a well-established practice among national authorities, with national tourism policies covering on average a time frame of 10 years and addressing the same thematic areas across regions, the spokesperson added. Aspects such as human resource development, investment, marketing and promotion, employment, product development and diversification have been factored into the policies, as these are relevant aspects for the sustainable economic development of tourism. Jonathan Day, Associate Professor and Marriott School of Hospitality and Tourism Management Graduate Program Director, applauded the Kingdom's ambition and commitment, believing it could become a leader in sustainable development. Tourism developed sustainably has the potential to contribute substantially to sustainability challenges faced by Saudi Arabia and the world, and I'm sure that through tourism Saudi Arabia can join the destinations leading in sustainable development, Day told Arab News. The Kingdom has the resources to invest in infrastructure to support sustainability goals and knows that tourism that doesn't adopt the principles of sustainability can make sustainability issues worse. It requires commitment to achieve positive outcomes. Day is not alone in seeing Saudi Arabia's financial resources as key in any effort it may make to lead the way in green tourism, with Professor Willy Legrand of the International University of Applied Sciences believing it would translate in attracting talent and developing policy. Al-Ula, home to Saudi Arabia's first UNESCO World Heritage Site, is at the heart of the Kingdom's tourism ambitions. Courtesy, Royal Commission of Al-Ula. Not only this, the resources allow the country to develop and implement state-of-the-art, existing, solutions as well as being a pipeline for the testing of new solutions to tackle some of the greater tourism challenges, Legrand told Arab News. Architect and sustainable tourism consultant Amin Alafi said that while Saudi Arabia had only recently opened for tourism more broadly, it was important to remember it had a rich history of religious tourism, and this was something it could learn from. Anywhere from 2.5 million to 9 million pilgrims travel to the Kingdom each year. Alafi told Arab News that this results in around 15 million plastic cups being used to cater to the water needs of everyone traveling. You can of course use technology to recycle all the disposable cups, but sustainable tourism should be about finding ways to raise awareness so that we don't have to rely on technology, he said. As for developing new tourism, I think they should promote the desert potential of tourism, as they can market it as a very interesting place for sustainable tourism, which does not mean they have to reduce the quality. We can do luxury combined with sustainability and not in a greenwashing way, with a design of luxury desert camps that optimize the natural resources, the sun and the wind for energy. Alafi said a blueprint would need to be predicated on pushing technology and the habitat you find yourself in. Technology is the tool, not the solution. The solution is building to suit the environment, not trying to have the environment suit you. Legrand said the Kingdom's capacity to achieve its aims would depend on a declaration of transparency in which it not only set out its goals but communicated actions undertaken and results achieved. Day said it was also important to construct the blueprint not as a series of steps that would work for every country, but rather to realize it as a list of questions that all countries could ask of themselves. Sustainability and sustainable tourism are wicked problems, which means there are many things that need to be done, and it requires many organizations and parts of government to work to achieve common goals, Day said. Transparency at the booking stage is critical to make the right decisions about a trip. Here Travelist and its many members are making progress in providing travelers with that information, such as the carbon footprint of specific airline routes, for example. Both Day and Legrand agreed that for Saudi Arabia to meet its ambitions as the vanguard in a push towards sustainable tourism, the country would need to hang its efforts around the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals for industry, not least collaboration and cooperation. They face many challenges, foremost of which is improving citizens' trust in state institutions. Rewilding Arabia. Return of the leopard is at the heart of plans to conserve and regenerate Saudi Arabia's landscapes and wildlife. Enter. Topics: Editor's Choice Tourism Jamaica Saudi Arabia Ahmed Al-Hatib Ungo. Related. Exclusive Pagano sees contribution of TRSDC Amala tourism projects to Saudi GDP at $9 video. Pagano sees contribution of TRSDC Amala tourism projects to Saudi GDP at $9 billion. Exclusive is Saudi largest sustainable tourism project to keep visitors' numbers at environment-friendly levels, official video. Saudi largest sustainable tourism project to keep visitors' numbers at environment-friendly levels, official. Al Azabisht Festival showcases rich culture, heritage. A large number of visitors flocked to the headquarters of Al Hassawi Bisht Festival in Hafuf. A large number of visitors flocked to the headquarters of Al Hassawi Bisht Festival in Hafuf. SPA updated June 19, 2022. Hibshi Al-Shamari. June 19, 2022. 2207. The Hassawi Bisht, the finest in the world, in high demand among the elite. Riyadh, Tuesday marks the end of the Hassawi Bisht Festival, which is held in the Souk Al-Arabia in Al-Azza. The Bisht is a traditional men's cloak popular in Arab countries, worn over a thobe. It is placed on the shoulder and down to the leg without sleeves. The week-long festival featured a variety of activities that reflected the historical and cultural heritage of hand knitting in Al-Azza, particularly in Bisht production. Ali Muhammad Al-Cotton, a well-known merchant in the business, is always keen to sew Bisht by hand in his shop in Hafuf. Supplied during the festival's inauguration last Wednesday, Eastern Province Governor Prince Saud bin Naif wore a light brown bisht and was accompanied by Al-Azza Governor Prince Saud bin Talal bin Badr, and Minister of Municipal and Rural Affairs and Housing Majid Al-Hagail. Many people in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf enjoy wearing bishts on special occasions and holidays, and wear them with traditional ornaments and fine hand stitching, embroidered with various threads and buttons in gold or yellow, silver, white, and red. Highlight. Many people in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf enjoy wearing bishts on special occasions and holidays, and wear them with traditional ornaments and fine hand stitching, embroidered with various threads and buttons in gold or yellow, silver, white, and red. Male grooms in Saudi Arabia almost always wear bisht, and many universities insist on their students wearing one during graduation ceremonies. Ahmad Al-Ghadir, executive member of the National Logistics Committee at the Federation of Saudi Chambers, said, "There is no doubt that Hassawi Bisht is a brand with a long history, and it needs to be cared for and properly introduced to ensure its continuity." Governor of the Eastern Province Prince Saud bin Naif wore a light brown bisht while touring the headquarters of the Al Hassawi Bisht Festival. SPA Al-Ghadir urged the establishment of training institutes in the industry to boost bisht productivity, as this work of art contributes significantly to the region's economic development. He compared the Hassawi bisht to a Rolex watch in terms of quality, pointing out that many visitors to Saudi Arabia are eager to purchase them. According to Ali Muhammad Al-Cotton, one of the biggest merchants in the business in Al-Azza, there has been an increase in bisht sales after many months of the industry being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Muhammad Ali Al-Cotton follows in his father's footsteps by hand-sewing bishts. The Al Hassawi Bisht Festival began on Wednesday and will last 7 days. Supplied while machine-made bishts began to dominate markets many years ago, aided by their low prices, handmade bisht continue to exist at least among elites, he said. For each specific part of the bisht, there is a tailor who is good at working with it and feels it is easy to sew it, he added. The 7-day festival features an exhibition documenting the value of bisht, live workshops on the bisht industry, and a celebration of national handicrafts, including bisht knitting. Al-Azza is well known for the bisht, a historical craft that has been passed down through many families for generations. Ahmad Al-Ghadir, executive member of the National Logistics Committee at Saudi Chambers Council, supplied Khalid Al-Farida, Director General of the Tourism Authority in Al-Azza, said that the bisht industry was initially a women's profession, as women were eager to knit them for their sons who went to the Kataib, Quran memorization sessions, distinguishing them from others. Men ventured into the business as demand increased, and slowly the industry began to expand. The names of the bisht are based on the rows of decoration, the width and the shape, which can be triangular, quadrilateral, hexagonal, or octagonal, he explained. Al-Farida noted that the bisht was once only sold to the rich, merchants, and those with wealth and power. Later, the bisht evolved into a costume and a national symbol of Saudi Arabia and its Gulf neighbors. According to him, black is the most desired color, particularly during marriages, and one reason for this is that it takes on a distinctive shape when inlaid with gold-colored buttons, as well as beige and brown.